Good day, class. Standing before you is Master Ehene Richard Gochuku. I'll be taking mathematics for JSS 2. And our topic today is the Pythagoras Theorem, or you can also call it the Pythagoras Rule. Now, there are things you need to know whenever you hear the word Pythagoras. First of all, the word Pythagoras is a person's name. It's the name of a man, a Greek mathematician, who discovered that theorem that we are about to study today. And if you're having to solve a problem using this Pythagoras rule, first of all, it must involve a right-angled triangle. Like we all know what a right-angled triangle is. As we have on the board, this is a right-angled triangle. It has three sides. The angle at which where two lines meet is angle 90 degrees. And the side opposite the angle 90 degrees, which is this side, is called the hypotenuse. That is, in other words, it is the longest side of the right angle triangle. So in any right angle triangle, the longest side is called the hypotenuse. The hypotenuse is the side opposite the right angle, that is the angle 90 degrees that I have mentioned. Then the remaining two sides in the right angle triangle, we call them sides because they are shorter. We call them the shorter sides. If you have to bring this out in a diagram, small letters are usually used to represent the sides. Example, the side opposite angle A, we have our angle A here. The side opposite the angle A, which is our hypotenuse, we can decide to call it the side opposite angle A, can be represented with a small letter A. Like we are having our capital letter A here, the side opposite it, we can call it the small letter A. So likewise, the letter B, the side opposite to this our angle B, this is angle B, the side opposite it, we can call it the small letter B. And this is our angle C, capital letter C, the side opposite it, you can call it the small letter C. That is how it is being labeled. So using this diagram, we will use this diagram to derive or to bring out our Pythagoras formula. And from there, I will state what the Pythagoras theorem says. Pythagoras theorem states that in any right angle triangle, the square of the hypotenuse is equal to the sum of the squares of the other two sides. What does it mean? It means that for you to have a Pythagoras theorem, there must be a right angle triangle. And that the square of the hypotenuse, this is a right angle triangle, and we say the longest side here is the hypotenuse. So we can have our A, we can have our B, and we can have our C here. That the square of the hypotenuse is equal to the sum of the squares of the other two sides. Now I can derive this thing, I can bring it out in two ways. I can state this formula as we're having it here, line by line. And I can also state it side by side. Now, if I should state it line by line, if I want to bring out the formula line by line, we say here is the hypotenuse, the square of the hypotenuse. Now I'm trying to bring it line by line. If here is our hypotenuse, we have a long line which is showing us where the hypotenuse is, which is line BC. Because this line started from B and ended in C. So that is the hypotenuse line BC. And that is what we have here, BC. And the theory said that in any right angle triangle, the square of the hypotenuse, if the hypotenuse is BC, line BC, it means it is going to also have the square, because they say the square of the hypotenuse. So that's why we're having BC, and then we inscribe our square on it, is equal to the sum of the squares of the other two sides. Okay, let's map out our other two sides. Let's start here. This is one of the sides, and this line is showing us the line of the side, and we can call the line to be line AC. Line AC, which is one of the sides. It started from A here and ended in C here, which is one of the sides. So that is why we are having a side here, AC, and remember it has squares, the sum of the squares of the other two sides. Line AC square, because of this sum that is here, this sum is showing that you are going to add two quantities, that is the two sides. You need to add the two sides, and we have brought out our first side, which is line AC. This is it. Then you put your addition sign, and then the other side, what is the other side? We haven't touched this line, so this is the side of the other second side. We have line AB. Line AB. It started from A and ended in B. So that is why we call it line AB, which is the second side. So that is why we are having our AB here. And remember, you have to inscribe your squares, because this is your, from the theorem, it has square. So that is why the square is on the line AB. That is how to bring it out using line methods. Now, if I should bring it out in the second way, which is the side method, like I've already told you, that if you are about to bring this side, this is capital letter A, the opposite of it will be small letter A. This is capital letter B, the opposite of it will be small letter B. C, the opposite will be small letter C. Now let's assume there are no B's here. We have three sides here. We have side A, we have side B, and we also have side C. And from this place, we know our longest side is the hypotenuse. So which means the side of the hypotenuse is what? Is A. Then we can bring it out. That is A here. Because remember, our focus is on the hypotenuse side. Hypotenuse side, which is A, remember the theorem said that the square of the hypotenuse, that is why you are having this square here, is equal to one of the sides after the hypotenuse, that is the two remaining sides of the right angle triangle. Let's pick one of the sides. Let's start here. This is one of the sides, and the side of it is what? Is B. So that is why we are having the B here. Remember, you put your square, because they say the square of the hypotenuse is equal to, square of the hypotenuse is equal to the sum, which is this addition, sum of the squares of the two other sides. B is one of the sides, you put your square, and then C is the other side, you put your square. And from here, this is how you get the Pythagoras formula. Alright, now, as we have come to the end of this lesson, I have assignments for you. The first assignment says, state the Pythagoras rule. State the Pythagoras rule. Like I've told you, Pythagoras rule and Pythagoras theorem, they are the same thing. State the Pythagoras rule. Can you read it and say it off heart? Then the second one, with the help of a well-labeled diagram, write out the Pythagoras formula. You can still draw another right angle. You can start labeling from anywhere. Label it, then pick the sides, and then find the formula using the side, and then find the formula using the line. And my number is down here, 081-121-69131. You can add me on WhatsApp and you can ask some questions there. My name is Richard. Thank you once again. Good day, class. Today we are going to continue from where we stopped. Still under the topic Pythagoras theorem. We are going to look at finding the length of the hypotenuse. Finding the length of the hypotenuse. In this place, you will be given a right angle triangle, and then the sides, the quantity of the sides will be given, but the quantity of the hypotenuse will not be given. So I would like us to concentrate so that we'll see how exactly do we solve to get the length of the hypotenuse. In our first example here, the question says, calculate the length of the side marked X in the triangle ABC below. Calculate the length of the side marked X in the triangle ABC below. We have a triangle here. We have a right angle triangle here. This is our A, our B, and our C. And we are told to find the length of the marked side, that is X. And from the look of things, you will see that the place that X is marked is our hypotenuse. Now, first of all, you have to ask yourself, do I still recall the Pythagoras theorem? Can I form it out from this place? Yes, sure, we can still form it out from this place. Now, let's look at it. The line of the hypotenuse here is BC. BC, so we'll bring it out. BC, remember our square, is equal to the line of the first side. Let's make here our first side. The line of the first side, that is the down one here, is AC. So that means we are going to write our AC as the first side. We are going to have AC square plus, because we are going to find the sum. Then the second side, in the second side we are going to have, this is the second side, we are going to have AB. That is the side AB. We are going to have our AB, and then remember your square. This is how to find, this is how to bring out the formula. We have brought out the formula. Now it will be much easier for us to solve. Since I have brought out the formula, we just look at the sides, the known sides, we fix the known sides, and then leave the unknown side. That is, we are going to make the unknown side the subject formula. BC square. BC, this is the line BC. So BC square is going to be what? X, because it's an unknown. So we're going to make BC to be what? X. BC is what? X. So under the BC, we're going to have X squared. We still put our equal to sign. Now, the next one here is AC squared. You ask yourself, what is AC here? This is line AC. And what does AC stands for? AC stands for 12. You bring it out. 12. Remember your square. Square it. Your addition sign. The next thing here is AB. AB square. Then you check for your AB. What stands for the AB? AB. This is line AB. And what does AB stands for? AB is represented by 5. It's represented by 5. Then you write our 5 here. Remember the square. Yes. We have brought them out now. These are the quantities of what we are looking for. The first side, 12. The second side, which is 5. Remember, it's having square and it's having square. So we have to simplify it now. 12 square plus 5 square. 12 square plus 5 square. When you have 12 square, it means that particular 12 will multiply itself again. 12 square, if you have 2 square, it means 2 times 2. If we have a squared, it means a times a. So here we are having 12 squared. 12 squared, which will also be 12 times 12. And 12 times 12 is equal to 144. If you punch your calculator very well, 12 squared, 12 times 12, which is going to give us 144. So you come under it, Under the 12 square, you write it 1, 4, 4. You bring your addition sign down. Now the next quantity here, we have 5. 5 squared. 5 squared. The next quantity, 5 squared. And what does 5 squared stands for? It stands for 5 times 5. And what is 5 times 5? 5 times 5 is equal to 25. So 5 squared means 5 times 5. And 5 times 5 is equal to 25. Then you come under the 5 square, you write your 25. We still go down. Our x square will be coming down because we are looking for x. Now let's do the simple addition here. 144 plus 25. 144 plus 25. If you punch your calculator, you will be having 169. 144 plus 25 is going to give us 169. Now we have simplified it. We have reached to this extent now. But this is not the final answer. Because from the question, we are told to find x and not x squared. But here we are having x squared. So we have to unsquare this x. We need to unsquare the x. And how do you unsquare the x? You unsquare the x by square rooting both sides. Square root both sides. We square root both sides. Now let's square root both sides. Here we have our x squared, then we have to square root it, is equal to, we have our 169. We have our 169. We are also going to square root it. Remember the statement says square root both sides, because the square root now will now cancel the square here. Then we'll be left with only x. And then we punch our calculator, square root of 169. Square root of 169. And if you punch your calculator very well, you are going to have 13 as the square root of 169. 13 as the square root of 169. So therefore, our SI unit here in the metric system here is centimeter. So it means our x will be equal to 13 centimeter. You come to the x side and write your 13 centimeter. And that's the final answer of that particular question. That particular example. Now let's go to the second example. The second example here, we have another right angle triangle here. Now it is no longer ABC. It is being labeled RST, but it doesn't make any difference. It's labeled RST. The most important thing here is to know your hypotenuse side, and then you know the two other shorter sides. Now from here, we said the hypotenuse side is the longest side, and this is the longest side, and also it is where the angle 90 is facing. Our angle 90 is facing the longest side, so which means we are looking for the what? Hypotenuse. We are looking for the longest side. Now let's bring out the Pythagoras formula from this place. Remember, the Pythagoras formula states that the square of the hypotenuse, and what is the line of the hypotenuse? The line of the hypotenuse is RT. RT is the line of the hypotenuse, so we bring it out. RT, remember the square of the hypotenuse, add your square, is equal to the sum of the sides, is equal to the squares. we are bringing out the formula of the Pythagoras rule from this diagram. The longest side is the hypotenuse, and it states that the square of the hypotenuse, the line of hypotenuse is RT square, is equal to the sum of the squares of the two other sides. Sum of the squares of the two other sides. Let's pick 6.4 as our first side. We have our 6.4 square, and then let the second side be 2.4, right? So we are going to have our second side to be what? 2.4 square. So in other words, 6.4 is being represented as what? TS. Is being represented as TS. And then the 2.4 here will be represented as RS. Then remember your square. RT square is equal to TS square plus RS square. We have brought out the formula or the Pythagoras theorem. Now it is more easier for us to fix in those quantities. Already we know that this is the unknown, and the unknown is x. X square is equal to TS. Line TS is represented with 6.4. This is 6.4, and remember your square. Then your addition sign. Line RX is represented with 2.4. 2.4 square. This is it. We have brought it out. Now, if you punch your calculator very well, we need to simplify 6.4 square plus 2.4 square. We need to simplify it. And what does square means? It means you're going to multiply that particular quantity by itself again. If you have 6.4 square, it means you are going to multiply 6.4 times 6.4. Then for the second one, we have 2.4 square. It means you're going to multiply 2.4 by itself again. So we are going to have 2.4 times another 2.4. And if you punch your calculator very well, for the first one, you are going to have 40.96 for the first one. And then for the second one, you are going to have 5.76. Then you come under them, each one, and put it. 6.4 square means 6.4 times 6.4, which is going to give us 40.96. You come under it, 40.96 plus. Then for the second one, 2.4 square, which means 2.4 times 2.4 is equals to 5.76. So you come under it, you write it 5.76. Now we do your simple addition. We are going to add 40.96 plus 5.76. We add them together. So if you add it together, you are going to have 46.72. When you add these two numbers together, 40.96 plus 5.76, you are going to have 46.72. Now, we have simplified it. We have come again to this particular position again. In the question, we have to find x. But here we are having x squared. We are told to find x, but we are having x squared. We need to get rid of this square so that only x will remain. And how do we get rid of square? If you're having square, if you want to get rid of square, you apply square root to both of the sides. You apply square root to both sides. Our first side here is x squared. You apply square roots. The second side we have 46.72. You also apply the square root. And when you apply the square root, square and square root will go. We are left with only x is equal to, then you punch your calculator. What is the square root of 46.72? Square root of 46.72. When you punch that correctly, you are going to have 6.8. You are going to have 6.8. So x is equal to what? 6.8. Now you check your metric system, our SI unit. We are having centimeter and centimeter. So definitely we are going to write our what? Centimeter. So the unknown here, which is x, is going to be 6.8 centimeter. And that's the final answer. 6.8 centimeter. Now, as we have come to the end of the lesson, we have an assignment here. Our assignment here says, solve for x. Solve for x. No. And this is the diagram. Triangle ABC. X, 8 meter and 5 meter. So you have to solve for it. And that's the end of the class.
Okay.